What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys the final piece of the 2024 battle wrap-up, man. I want to say real quick before we get into it, I want to thank you guys once again for all the support on this series throughout the year, of course, but this has probably been my most supported series ever on the channel. Tons of love, not just from the views, but to the comments, the discourse we're having back and forth, and a lot of people in the comments saying the point of this series was to be a refresher. I know there's a ridiculous amount of battle rap that goes on nowadays, transactions almost every single weekend, and I've even seen people say, I haven't even been in a battle rap like that the last couple of years, and I'm glad I stumbled across this. It's kind of pointing me in the direction of what's the best stuff that I might have missed, and that was the whole purpose of this, was to have discourse and maybe catch you up or shine light on some battles, or even just point you in the direction back into battle rap if you haven't been watching. So it's been an overwhelming amount of love all 2024, and especially for this series, the top of 2025. So I want to thank you guys once again. But for every episode so far, we've talked about the top 5 best events of 2024, the top 5 best battles of 2024, biggest and best body bags, right? Best battlers themselves. But now, for this final episode, we're going to take a little bit of a twist, and as you can see, this is the top 5 most disappointing battle rappers of 2024, and listen, there's different definitions of disappointing as well. We're going to have some people up here that tend to be frequent flyers on lists like this, so maybe you didn't necessarily expect a great year from them, but really, while the word is disappointing, this is the 5 battlers that I'm looking at their year, and I'm just kind of like, damn. That's really the best definition that I could give. Of course, there's going to be different names you could throw in here, and some of you guys might be fans of these battle rappers, and we're not going to call anyone out of their name, anything like that. We talk about the sport here. That's always going to be the first and forefront. But to be fair, when people are bad, we're going to be very honest and talk about them being bad, and that's going to be the purpose of this list here. So no honorable mentions for this one. It is going to be strictly the top 5, and without further ado, let's talk about it. So to kick off the list at the number 5 spot, and I'd say out of all these, this is the one that, and I said some of your guys' favorite battle rappers would be on here. Well, this is one of my favorite all-time battle rappers, so it pains me to put him on the list here, but it's just no question that he's had a really rough year, and that would be the legend, Reed Dollaz. Now, maybe you guys weren't expecting a lot from Reed coming into the year, because for years, quite some years now, it's very finicky with Reed. I always love his great performances. He was great versus Nitty, he turned the clock back and was great for his Ill Will, and even if we're going back farther, he was very good versus Chess, even had a good one-rounder versus Swamp last year that actually dropped at the top of this year. However, he's got 3 battles this year, right? 3 3-rounders. I believe they're all main events. He has Calico, still outside. He was the main event for that in a 3-rounder. On TOS, he battled Truffaut. I don't know if everybody's watched that, but that was a 3-rounder out there in Chicago. And then, of course, headlined in Philly on Battle Academy versus Tay-Rock, which is a battle that between the Tay-Rock and Geechee battle, he's personally been asking for very vocally in interviews and everything for really years now. And Reed is atrocious in all these battles. He's very bad versus Calico. And some people do have him with the win because Calico was also very bad versus Reed Dollaz. They both choked multiple rounds. I feel like people like, oh, Cal choked, so he lost. So did Reed. So I personally had Cal edging it. I thought he had a little bit more material-wise, but we all lost that battle. So whether you have Reed winning that or not, that battle is absolute garbage. It was the worst of that night, and it was an atrocity. Then he goes over to battle Truffaut in Chicago, and I'm not going to lie. If I told you that Truffaut and Reed had a 3-rounder coming up, I bet that you would think he was going to mail it in. You know what he did versus Truffaut? He mailed it in. He was not clean in the battle, got 30'd by Truffaut, but the one that really had to bring him here on the top 5 list is definitely the Tay-Rock battle, because he's asked for it for a while, and like I said with some of these earlier plates, like Ill Will, Nitty, even Chess, you get the rare when Reed really respects the guy he's going against of top-tier talent, where he does bring the best version of himself. And if any battle was supposed to do that, it's this Tay-Rock battle that you've been asking for years, and Rock's been asking to battle you. It is in Philly, where you were a legend and a symbol of the city. And not only was it one of the biggest body bags of the year, was he unclean and was Rock just beating him to death. He then goes on an interview run after, pretty much blaming Philly for this situation. Only in Philly could you allow somebody to come in here and do this to a legend where they out-rap the time. Took the man's joy of the game. You know what I'm saying? So it pains me, man. And I know, like I said, a lot of people might have already expected this from Reed, but particularly that Tay-Rock, we're talking about 3 really garbage battles here, all main events, and particularly the Tay-Rock one. You've been asking for so long for this battle, and it turned out as bad as possible. So sadly, got to put Reed Dollaz here to start off the list. But we're going to move right on to the number 4 spot, and this is someone that I feel like everyone knows was going to make this list, even the battler himself, who's already apologized for his 2024. It's been such a big topic because he has a battle this weekend where I do expect a much better version of himself. I do think he's going to kick it up in 2025, but that battler would be Shotgun Suge. And I know Suge has been saying, you know, he apologized, first of all, for his year because he absolutely treated 2024 like nothing but a check. Every single battle he treated like he was just there for the money, and he might have even just said that himself now. You know what I'm saying? It's not very mysterious that that's what he did in 2024. However, he also said that he just didn't battle that much, and that's not entirely, it's just not true. I think he's battled around 8 to 9 times within the year. 3-rounder versus Clone, got cooked at the top of the year. Top floor loot on Battle Academy. He wasn't really that bad in that battle. They kind of set him up time-wise, but even then, short rounds, little bit of stumbling as well. Shank Prezi, he battled on Battle Academy. I had him losing that as well. I guess he was a little bit better. Lost to Fibo on iBattle. Just, these are some unacceptable losses that he's had, where he's rapping exactly to the time, or he's choking and stumbling. Also, and I believe what might have been his lone URL battle of the year, he battled Capo Bravado and lost that battle. Capo was actually pretty good on that battle. I know I give Capo a hard time, but Capo won that battle very clear. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna be honest, he shouldn't. Like Shotgun should at least put up more of a fight, or it should be a good battle. But there is not one good or great Suge performance to stick with from this year. He also had the Coffee Brown battle on prom night. What a mess that battle turned out to. He choked multiple rounds. They basically ended the battle early. It has just been a terrible year for him. Now, like I said, I'm expecting more from him in 2025. He's already kind of admitted, out of everyone in this list, he's the one that's admitted kind of the year that he's had and said, listen, I wasn't all the way locked in. My mindset was on other things outside of battle rap, but this year I'm going to kick it up, and he absolutely should. But his 2023 was a sharp decrease from his 2022. He had kind of a rough year last year outside of the Slade and Ace battles, lost to Fonz, lost a couple other ones, but this year, there's going to be some people that debate that Suge didn't even put a W up on the board, and the guy battled more than 5 times, even though he says he didn't battle that much. So it's been a rough year for Suge. I feel like everybody knows it, and you just have to hope that he does better this year, because he's definitely one of the worst storylines in terms of who didn't do good when you talk about what occurred last year. So getting on to the top 3 here, and I said earlier in the video, you know, something about frequent flyers, people that commonly are these most disappointing conversations or didn't have a great year. And this is someone that whenever I see a list of that variety, some years he tends to be on there, I'd say most years, and then the years when he's good, he's fantastic, which is what makes it so disappointing. But that's why here at number 3, I do have Chess. Now, Chess's year, a little bit trickier to judge because there's actually some bright spots in here. His 1-rounder versus Casino, he had a Gates of the Garden battle. I think it was like 45 Focus might have been the guy's name. I know he had a battle out in Chicago, a Smoke Room in Chicago that he did pretty good in. So a couple 1-rounders where he's doing pretty good. However, with Chess, my thing is that when you look at these top battles he had, and unlike someone like a Suge, where Suge doesn't have as many positives even in the 1-rounder department, right? But so why would I put Chess over him? Well, Chess had a couple big plates on like a Shotgun Suge, right? He had the Miss Hustle battle in Volume 11. He had the Bill Collector battle at Battle Academy, which co-headline. And those are his worst performances of the year in those 3-rounders. And they're body bag losses. He got bodied by Miss Hustle. And then he got bodied even worse by Bill, where it's almost sad to watch the way that he chokes every round of that battle. So I think that already is a little bit more impactful and important. His big versus top tiers, Chess is still not competing like a top tier, which is kind of the story of most of his career. But then you have some of these other 1-rounders, right? And even the Lou Castro battle, which was his last battle of 2024, where you always hear if Chess is clean, that's when he's the hardest to beat. That's when he's the most dangerous. However, he was clean in this 1-rounder versus Dice. He was clean in this 1-rounder versus Prep, the rematch on Gates of the Garden. And outside of a hard stumble, in my opinion, I didn't call it a choke, but a stumble in the second versus Lou, he's mostly clean versus Lou Castro. And I just think he got out-rapped. Now, granted, the Dice battle is good. I feel like Dice won the battle, but at least it's a good look. But I don't feel like you should be losing the Dice 1-rounder or not, right? And he didn't even like out-rap him crazy time or anything like that. He most certainly lost the rematch to Prep, which is just, what are you doing? And then with the Lou Castro battle, this is a battle that if you told me going in Chess was going to be clean, he should absolutely win that battle. And granted, it's a formidable Lou Castro. It's probably one of his best performances since 2021, but it wasn't great. It wasn't unbeatable, and he just out-rapped Chess. And if we're talking about Lou Castro just beating Chess off the strength, that's a problem. That's disappointing. You know what I'm saying? That's the definition of disappointing. And this is a guy you can critique most of Chess's career. I feel like he's always going to be a top tier draw. He's going to have like a top tier amount of fan base. You can't take away the impact that he has, but he has always struggled to compete versus top tiers. And this is another year of him simply dying to the only other two top tiers that he faced. And then he's out here in dogfights or losing to the likes of Prep and Lou Castro, who are solid mid tier battle rappers. But is Chess supposed to be just a solid mid tier talent, or is he supposed to be a star like some people say he is, right? So for me, maybe you could put Suge over him because at least Chess gave you a little bit of something, but Suge didn't have some of those bigger opportunities Chess still had this year, and Chess still looked like Chess in some of those battles, which is why he makes this list in the top 3 for me. And then that leaves you with the top 2 battlers here with the most disappointing years, right? And this second one, people were commenting, should have made an appearance on my top 10 bodies video. I actually didn't technically have her getting bodied on the year, but she had a rough year that looked like it could be a great year at one point. And I am talking about 40 bars, right? Now, at one point, and like her fans will still say, 40 was on a Wody run. 40 for Wody. And I remember after she beat First Lady Flames, because she did beat First Lady Flames in a 3-rounder, that was a good win. And that was setting her up for what was a hell schedule. She had Sharon, New Jersey Twerk, Vixen, Av, ended up battling Swamp as well, right? But before we get into that, because we know what that's going to be, let's talk about earlier in the year how she had 2 other 1-rounders. She battled Fendi on Mike Masters. Now, she won, but she was not clean in that battle. And a big reason that she won is because Fendi was also not clean in that battle. She's a 1-rounder versus KD. She completely fucked off that battle and choked and lost that. So she already had blemishes going into what would be the First Lady Flames slate. Wins that battle. We're going to give it to her. I thought that was going to be a competitive battle, and she showed the difference in that one. Flames has not had a good year either, if I got to be totally honest. But then what happens from there? The Sharon battle. Now, most of you guys are telling me that's a body. I think the first is debatable. I like her first round. And in fact, I like her first round in most of these battles. She starts off pretty good, but a lot of people still had Sharon in the first. She chokes in the second and the third. Embarrassing style, too. Kind of like, getting mad and the anxiety getting to her, which I'm not a performer. She is a performer. So I'm not going to get at anyone for having anxiety, but you still got to perform your job because I bet all these battlers have anxiety. It's not an easy thing to do, but you're the one that keeps choking every single battle. So Sharon, dominant loss there. She is the Twerk battle. Now, some people were trying to say it's debatable. I just don't see it. I know that Twerk wasn't at full effort in that battle. And he even kind of just gives up the third. But I had him winning the first 2 rounds. They're both stumbling through the battle. It's one of the worst battles that happened on Kings vs. Queens Summer Madness. So I already have her losing that. But either way, no way that's a good look from her. You have the Vixen battle, 3-0 loss. She was pretty competitive versus Av, still lost, clear and judged on Queen of the Ring, which is where she's supposed to be at full power. And then to cap it all off, unless I'm forgetting a loss in there, you have the Swamp battle where she completely chokes all 3 rounds. And I believe she even went on Twitter afterwards. Someone had said something like, she's just performing for the check. And she was like, sounds about right. So for someone that we heard about 40 for Wody, and then they were making graphics and trying to make noise for it, she ends up with one of the most disappointing years. She is not clean in any battle, even if it's just stumbling. There is not one battle 40 bars had this year where she's just 100% clean from front to back. And then more times than not, she was choking and losing in dramatic fashion. And for me, when we're talking about who's had some of the roughest years in battle rap, there's a reason people have been so harsh on 40 bars. And that's because she just all around had one of the worst years in battle rap with one of the most stacked schedules. Didn't have to be that way, but it simply is. Now we are here at the number 1 spot, which would obviously be my pick for the most disappointing battle rapper of 2024. And I'll tell you right now, for this guy, one battle is a big reason that he made it here. There is one definitive loss that I think it almost makes the case for itself, but he also had rough battles otherwise this year that I don't think people just understand to the depths of how many L's or just really bad footage he put out into the universe here. And some people might debate 40 and Suge. I know they've had very talked about years when we talk about disappointment. But for me, this guy's number 1, and that would be Arsenal, right? So let's go to the big one real quick. The Murda Mook battle. The storyline of it, over 10 years of building this up, talking about the man's dead mother trying to draw him into a battle, to the point nobody even wanted the battle for quite some time. It gets booked, obviously, for Winter Madness. He's the only one doing the promo. If Ars did one good thing this year, it was his promo for Winter Madness. You get to the battle. Some of you guys are telling me that Arsenal won the first. I believe Arsenal still had a pretty good first live, but on the rewatch, I had Mook the entire time in the first, and I have him more and more clear the more I watch it. He outrode him. I just feel like he was better. I feel like even though Arce's first is good, it still has some ups and downs opposed to Mook, who's just straight through and doing great from beginning to end of the round. Second round, Arsenal chokes. You did not chase this battle for 10 plus years, make all this drama to turn around and choke in the Murder Mook battle. He's down 2-0. You get to the third round, and some people are like, you know, we're soft. Disrespect shouldn't be taken out of battle rap. Nobody's saying disrespect should be taken out of battle rap. His third isn't good. It's not. It's still got to be good. It's still got to be disrespect formulated and structured to be good. And his third is terrible versus Mook. It's why he was booed in the building. Nobody likes it. It's not that nobody likes disrespect. We like battle rap. Obviously, we like disrespect. It wasn't good. Gets 30'd by Murder Mook. After all this time, in my opinion, 30. I guess you guys can debate that first if you want a moral victory, but I had it as a clear 30 on the rewatch, and I had it at least as a close 30 live with the first, right? So the Mook battle is already extremely disappointing how that goes for him. But I think people are forgetting some of the other battles that Arsenal had this year. Coffee Brown, he chokes all 3 rounds and gets bodied in that battle. The Frozenberg battle that I don't think is all that good, but on top of that, he choked, and they edited some of the chokes out. I believe they both might have choked in that battle. I know he choked in that battle, and it was edited out. I don't even think that battle was very good either way. The Capo Bravado battle, which is vaulted. It did less than 1,000 views because they messed with the title, put a hashtag in, so they are both terrible in that battle, but he lost another battle that he choked all 3 rounds in. Main event of his own league over there at UW, and he's got a couple more battles where he's competitive. He's competitive versus Holmesy earlier in the year. A lot of people have him 2-1, I understand. Clean in that battle as well. And then the Shuni battle, I thought was I actually had Arsenal 2-1. You can debate it, but he chokes away, kind of like ends his second all awkwardly, and that's not very high quality stuff either. For the most part here, it's chokes. It's very much so treating a lot of these battles like a check, and then the one battle that it builds all up to is this Murder Mook battle, where he took probably what is going to be one of the more talked about losses in his career after all this time, 10 plus years, all this noise made. You were choking before the battle. You proceeded to battle Shuni 2 weeks later. You weren't all that great in that. But then the Mook battle at the top of it all, where I have you getting 30'd. And for me, maybe it's not as talked about. Maybe some of you would argue 40 or Shug is higher. They didn't have at even a couple good battles the way Ars did. But for me, I'm walking away from this and I'm being like, damn, Ars, this was a very rough year for you. And for me, he's the most disappointing battler of 2024. And that is my full list here for the top 5 most disappointing battlers in 2024. Just to add one more thing I forgot to the Arsenal piece of this recording, is that he also lost a judge battle to Bad News, and some would say he's pretty good. It actually is one of his better performances of the year, and one of his better performances of the year is still losing $30,000 in a judge battle to Bad News. So that now is my full list for the top 5 most disappointing battlers of 2024. I know some of these guys, I feel like this one is going to be more, we have the debates and discourse with the other ones. This one has a little bit more cause for debate because we are going to be talking about people's favorites doing bad, but I still, all in a respectful sense, it's just me analyzing the sport. And as always, now I want to hear from you guys on this one. Do you agree with my picks for the top 5 most disappointing? Do you agree with my order? Do you think do you think I'm being a little harsh on someone and they shouldn't be on this list? I want to have conversations about that. And of course, is there anyone that didn't make the list that you feel like should take a spot or should be in conversation for this one? Of course, as always, it's all about dialogue, so please comment. Let me know anything you liked about the list or didn't like, and we can have some back and forth with that, man. But this is not just the end of this video, but the end of the 2024 battle wrap-up, so we will not be seeing this series again until the end of 2025, and I'm expecting a great year. And hopefully, let me know what you want to see maybe next year. Maybe I'll just bring back these 5, and that's what we'll base the wrap-up around. But if you maybe, I didn't do performances this year. Maybe you guys want top 5 performances. Anything you could suggest for 2025's battle wrap-up, please let me know down below, man. And once again, thank you guys for the support on this series. And we have more Hall of Fame episodes coming, more Cody projection episodes, and then obviously we have Chrome this weekend, and we'll get back to doing straight recaps with what will be our first event of 2025, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. Peace.